What's up, you guys? Happy Sunday. We are back again. Let's get into these Atlanta ladies. Now, listen. Ain't a whole lot go on in this episode. Oh, I'm blurry. A whole lot didn't really go down on this episode, if I'm being really honest about the situation. But I do have some observations, and some of them y'all are probably not gonna like. Oh Lord, this camera. All right. Yes, filler episode. Definitely, this trip seems like it could have been 2 episodes and not a 3-episode trip situation. But y'all know they gotta do what they gotta do and get their money's worth. So we start this episode off. We found out that the night before, Britt can't handle the alcohol and she, got sick. We found out that Portia and Drew seemed to, come to some sort of a truce and they were clowning around or whatever. So it's the next morning, and we find out that the ladies are going to be separated and do 2 different excursions. Now, I do like the fact that Kelly and Shamia decided that the groups will be divided based off of opposite roommates. I'm going to say this. Now, I can say a lot of things about Shamia and Kelly, but I think they were very intentional with some of the decisions they made on this trip. I like the fact that they were like, if you can't go on an excursion with somebody you're sharing a room with, because if y'all are roommates, y'all are already sort of bonding and getting to know each other. And I appreciate that. That was very intentional. They didn't just group people with friends and say, oh, we know you're going to get along or you're going to get along. Even though it did seem like it was the OGs and the newbies, right? You had Phaedra, Portia, Shamia, and Cynthia together. And then you had the rest of the ladies together. But I do think that was a good idea, right? Angela, girl, I like you. I really do like Angela. Angela, stop. Just if it's a gag, it's old. And if it's not a gag, just stop. You and Charles's indifference to you. Like I said, if it was a gag, great. It was a gag. We got it. Ha ha ha. But if it's not a gag, girl, it's not cute. It's not cute, right? And then later on in the episode, when they're at dinner and it's like they're coming at Angela, I'm like, and it's like she probably got her and Britt are the only 2 that are married at this point. Why y'all attacking this woman's marriage? I mean, don't get me wrong. Angela does a good enough job of putting her business out there and giving y'all something to talk about. But I just feel like every time I look up, it's just y'all are coming after her about Charles. Then it was Charles don't wear his ring. Charles is not the only married man that does not wear his ring. And Angela, girl, when they asked you about it, you should have just said, it don't bother me. I'm good. Don't be like, oh yeah, it does bother me. I should bring it up in therapy. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm gonna bring it up when we go to therapy. First of all, didn't nobody at that table need to know you in therapy with your husband? That's number 1. And number 2, you did not need to bring up the wedding ring, much less the fact that it bothers you. Girl, you keep giving them ammunition. They are already coming after you because you are, like I said, you are only one of 2 people on this show that's even married at this point. Well, no, Shamia. I'm sorry. Shamia is married. I apologize. Shamia is married. But girl, stop giving them ammunition to come after you. Right. A lot of married couples don't wear rings. And I'm just not going to give y'all that ammunition. I'm not going to give it to y'all. Shamia, child, they still can't find her luggage, but she miraculously got an outfit for everything. Now, she did say she brought that dress later on the episode from Portia. But girl, you had that whole bathing suit ensemble. Like I said last week, I saw you, what up, DB? Hey, boo. I saw you get up, had that whole carry-on luggage and a duffel bag. Girl, you had shit to wear. Don't get me wrong. That's how you're supposed to pack. I said that last week. So I'm not even mad at Shamia. And I understand there's a difference between you put a couple of outfits in your carry-on versus having everything. I get it. I do understand it. But unfortunately, that's how it happens, child. So that let you know, don't matter whether you're flying first class or coach, they can still lose your luggage. Okay? Doesn't matter whether your luggage is Louis Vuitton or TJ Maxx. They can still lose it. Okay? All right. Angela is the married woman you don't invite on a girl's trip. Child. Neither my spouse nor I wear our rings. We've been married for 28 years. Right. I mean, it is not that deep. It's not that deep. Okay. And again, if it does bother you at this point, it's just not something I'm telling. Now, before we get ready to go on our excursions, of course, we got to recap what happened the night before. And Cynthia was like, I just don't like it. I just don't like all that over talking. I just don't like all that over talking. And Kelly was like, well, did the crystal help? And Cynthia was like, the crystal did help. And then Britt is going to insert herself and said, well, when I had the crystal and I was trying to talk, nobody cared about what I had to say. Girl, because we didn't. Because you were trying to create a moment and create a storyline that nobody cared about. First of all, like I said last week, old boy wasn't even at your event. So the fact that you invited Apollo to the event, but he didn't even show up. Now, again, I understand. I do understand that Phaedra could have turned it into a storyline. So I understand Britt putting it out there before somebody can kind of give it to her. But at the same time, girl, you could have pulled her aside and said, look, Phaedra, I'm really glad that you came on the trip. And I wanted to just let you know that my husband is friends with Apollo and he was invited to one of my events. And I just don't want anybody to have to come back to you later and make it out to be something that it wasn't. Girl, that's all you had to do. But you clearly know that whole conversation didn't have shit to do with Phaedra, Apollo, or your damn fake out country club fake ass event. Nobody cared. Just like at the end of this episode, she gonna make it about her, but we're gonna get to that in a second. So then Kelly brings up the whole shot thing and how she feels pressured, and y'all not gonna pressure her into taking to shots and da 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 da. Now I'm gonna say this, just like she said. First of all, is it that you're a lightweight and you can't handle the alcohol, or is it that you feel pressured to drink the alcohol? It's two different things. It's two different things. And if you're saying you feel pressured to drink the alcohol, great. I get it. You're new. Everybody keeps saying shot, shot, shot. Everybody's drinking. But girl, if you know you're a lightweight, you know you're a lightweight. Let me tell you something. First of all, I'm old enough at this point in my life that I know my limit. And when I'm done, I'm done. Can't nobody pressure me or peer pressure me into nothing. Baby, when I say I'm done, I'm done. But if I were still at a point in my life where somebody could peer pressure me into pretending, baby, you better take that. This is my medicine, but we're going to pretend like it's a shot glass. You better shot, 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 shot. Girl, you throw that shit behind and you keep moving. Girl, it's not that deep. If you felt like they pressured you into drinking to the point where you threw up, girl, that's on you. Just like you keep saying, I feel like shots is for high school. I feel like we're too old to be doing shots. I feel like that's a high school thing. So if it's a high school thing to call something shots, then it's also a high school thing to not know your limits and not know when to say, I'm done for the night, I'm good. Like, I know when to say I'm done. I know. And it's so funny when I go out with my friends, I don't drink like I used to. But when we used to go out to happy hour and we used to do all these different things, my friends used to be like, we always knew when you were done. Because they said when you were done, you would start ordering. I used to order ice. Because let me tell you something. My old drunk, when I worked in North Carolina, my cubicle mate, she was an old drunk. I could tell she'd been drinking her whole life. Old drunk told me a long time ago. She said, before I start drinking, I do two things. She said, number one, I always take me 2 Tylenol before I get started. And number two, She said, every time I order a drink, I order some water. Because the dehydration is the alcohol drying up the water. You know what I'm saying? When you get a hangover, that's your body being dehydrated. And don't let nobody tell you that top shelf liquor don't give you no hangover. Baby, liquor give you a hangover. I don't give a damn how expensive the liquor is. It is your body being dehydrated. So she told me a long time ago, every time I order a drink, I order some water. So my friends used to tell me all the time, they'd be like, we always knew when you were done because you would start ordering water. Yeah. Yup. Because I'm done. They knew if we was out for happy hour, they knew when I started ordering water or ordering ice. I would order ice. I was good at ordering ice. Because I would always order ice. I didn't order water. I would order a cup of ice when I ordered my drink. I would always be like, let me get, Jack and Coke or Jack Straight and a cup of ice. They said when you stopped drinking and you started eating that ice, back then that's when my iron was low. That was when I had real bad iron. So I craved the ice. But they knew. I know it went left on that, but that let you know we ain't got shit. It ain't that deep. This episode ain't that deep. But yeah. Yeah, like it's your body being dehydrated. So, girl, if you are not old enough to use your words to tell them I'm not, you can't say 1 minute, oh, it's declassé to call something a shot. Well, it's declassé to ask the driver to pull over so you could throw up on the side of the road. Do you know how declassé that is? Girl, bye. Let me tell you the last time I pulled over. The last time I had to pull over and let somebody throw up was homecoming. And I don't mean homecoming like as an adult when I went back to homecoming. I'm talking about homecoming when I was in college homecoming. That's how long ago it's been since I've had to pull over on the side of the road and had somebody... It's declassé to have an event and only feed certain people. But anyway, so Britt says she feels a certain energy coming off from Shamia. She feels a certain energy coming off from Shamia. So as the ladies are on their way to their respective, the OG ladies are going down to I haven't thrown up for drinking since 08 at an AKA Centennial. I know that's right, at AKA Centennial. You better get it in, girl. You better throw them pinkies up and get your shot on. But the OG ladies went to the waterfall. That's the footage we saw that came out while they were filming. We saw that Phaedra was there. And then the other ladies were doing a cooking class, which I don't know if I cared that much about the cooking class, but I definitely cared about the fact they went to an all-black plantation that had the all-black distillery that is still trying to recover from the hurricane. I love that we did that. Lock Queen, me and you are on the same page, and that's why I said at the beginning of this, some of y'all might not like me because y'all not gonna like what I'm gonna say, but it is what it is. I gotta tell it how I see it, and I gotta walk it like I talk it. Walk it. Anyway. So when the ladies were in the car, Shamia was talking about how Britt did not donate like she should have donated. And Phaedra was like, yeah, because when you're at the level we're at, like nobody should have given less than $1,000 and yada, 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 and boo, boo, boo. Now, let me say two things because I'm all over the place because it wasn't really that much with this episode and I just don't want to forget what I'm getting ready to say. Here's my issue with, and we talked about this last week on the panel. Here's my issue with this whole donation situation. One thing I've learned, and Quake, you just talked about AKA, so you've probably experienced this. Anybody that has ever been in an organization that does charitable deeds has gone through this. And let me be honest when I tell you this. You can't make a donation open-ended and then get mad at what people donate. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. You can't make a donation open-ended and then get mad at what people donate. You just can't do it. And Quake said, yeah, because Quake know what I'm talking about. When you are in these organizations and you ask people for a donation, if you want a certain amount, then you got to put that out there. You say, we're taking up donations for Grenada, and we feel like $1,000. If you're making a cash donation, we feel like either $1,000 or the equivalent of $1,000 in supplies is what we're all trying to do. Then once you put that out there, and if Britt doesn't give you $1,000 or show up with what looks like $1,000 worth of items, now you can talk your shit. But for y'all to be like, you can't pull up in a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, and a Birkin and only give da-da-da-da-da. Yes, the fuck I can. Because that ain't what you said. You said make some donations, and that's what I did. Now, the other problem I had with what Shamia did was when they were at dinner, and like I said, I'm going back. I'm all over the place. But the other thing I hate that they said that happened at dinner is, somebody else asked me that. I'm not going to review Straw. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to review it. I'm sorry, baby. I think Spiller Boy did a review of Straw. I think Ashley Miller did a review of Straw. I think Jamie That's Me did one. But I'm not. So I'm not. Okay, so the other thing I had a problem with was when they were at dinner and Shamia threw that out there. Shamia absolutely was being passive aggressive, and Britt caught it. Don't get mad at Britt. Jaylee reviewed it too. Thank you, Montrez. Don't throw it out there because you were being passive aggressive and you were talking about Brittany. And my issue is, and I know a lot of people mad at Britt right now and they don't see it for Britt. That's fine. But we got to be fair. We got to call a thing a thing. When Britt caught the shade and threw it back at Shamia and was like, are you talking about me? Now I'm looking at you, Shamia. And when you were like, that, if I was throwing shade, I would tell you I'm throwing shade. Bitch, you were. You 100% were talking about Britt. And when Britt said, so are you talking about me? That's when you should have said, yeah, Britt, I was talking about you because I felt some kind of way. But here is my biggest problem with that whole situation. And let me put aside the fact that we're making a TV show, because I know we're making a TV show. So let's put that aside, that we're producing a show. Let's just talk about regular everyday situations. You said that you pulled that woman aside and you took her out to eat and you explained to her the issue you had with her donation or lack thereof donation. So if you pull me aside, which I can respect that you pulled her aside and said, hey girl, we kind of was hoping you gave us a little bit more than what you gave us. We kind of thought that it would be a little bit more than what you did, in this environment, with the eyes on us, with the show, because I'm sure because you took her out to eat, I'm sure that what you were saying, you were probably breaking the fourth wall kind of thing, which is why you didn't say it on camera. Don't bring that shit up and try to read me later. That's another reason why Britt knew who you were talking about her. So if you pulled her to the side and you already told her, girl, that wasn't a good look. Now you on camera and you throw me under the bus as if we didn't have a conversation. That's the shit that I don't like. And again, I understand we're making a TV show. So like I said, put that to the side. You're creating a moment. You're creating a scene. But my thing is, I would much rather Shamia had that conversation on camera and said, listen, girl, I just want to let you know. And I would have much rather you film that conversation that you had with Britt than do what you did, take her to the side off camera, and then on camera act like it never happened. That's the shit right there that I don't like. I don't like it. Because I feel like that's dumb. Now, I can appreciate that later on in the car, on the way back after dinner, we're going to, like I said, I know I'm skipping all over the place, but I just got my brain, because I'll forget to say everything I want to say. I can appreciate that that Phaedra, for as much as Phaedra was getting on my nerves this whole fucking episode with all of her slick shade and her little nicknames, she trying so hard, y'all. Phaedra is trying so hard. But anyway, as much as I really appreciate the fact that Phaedra said, girl, when you're moving in these circles, you got to step it up. And, I can appreciate that Phaedra was giving her the little auntie talk. I really do. We'll get to that because she was also getting on her about what happened between her and Portia. We'll get to that later. But I just had to follow my train of thought with this whole donation situation because I feel like, and then Kelly co-signing it, and I feel Britt on that too. Like, girl, you supposed to be my friend. If I was moving wrong, why you didn't say something to me? You could have just as easily called me and said, girl, I don't know what your pocketbook is looking like. I don't know what you can or cannot do, but you probably want to try to give at least $1,000 when you send that Cash App over to Shamia. And if it ain't in your pockets, then do what you can do. But you might want to, I'm just telling you what they're going to be kind of looking for. Again, I understand we're making a TV show. But if that's supposed to be your friend, girl, you could have slid her a text on the side and said, baby, you need to go on and send a Cash App because your donation was looking a little womp. But y'all can't keep, when I say y'all, talking about the show, y'all can't keep holding people to this standard and y'all didn't put nothing on it. Even the preacher at church be like, we trying to raise XYZ amount of dollars tonight. So people got something in their head. And I'm not talking about your tithes because tithes is set. I mean, if you believe in the Bible and all that, the tithes is set. We know what our tithes is. But when they taking up offering, they say, okay, we trying to raise $500 tonight. And you look around the room and it ain't but 20 y'all in the room. Then you got to probably put about $50 in there. And hope everybody else does the same. But if they say we're trying to raise $500 and you look around the room and it's about 400 of y'all in there, then you could probably put a little $5 bill in there and you'll be good. I mean, if you're going to participate at all. Some people might not participate at all. You know what I'm saying? Some people might hit them. But remember Bill Cosby at Uptown Saturday Night when he hit him with and passed the plate? Anyway. So, moving right along. They go on the excursions. The other thing that comes up, because the girls that did the waterfall, child, they didn't really do too much of that. They had a whole photo shoot. And they looked cute. Everything was great. That's good. Right. But the ladies that were eating, they bring up Black again. This is the other thing that is stressing me out. Well, it ain't stressing me out for real, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know how many different ways y'all want Drew to tell y'all what she done told y'all. Drew done told y'all 560, 70,000 ways. Black is her friend. They enjoy spending time together. But there is nothing more going on because she is still dealing with her divorce. And one, Ralph is petty as hell. And two, she's trying to do things in decency and in order, meaning I need to end this before I start that. I don't know how many different ways y'all want her to say that. I just don't know how many different ways y'all want her to tell y'all who Black is. What is it that y'all want that woman to say? Because at this point, even if it's more to the story, she ain't changing her story. Even if it's more going on between her and Black, baby, she is not changing what she said. I don't know how many different ways y'all want that woman to tell y'all that is her friend. That's all y'all getting. Why do we keep bringing it up? And again, I have to say, and again, y'all, I know this is how we at the end of the season. Because I get it. I understand what I'm about to say before I say it out my mouth. But again, I feel like, why are y'all trying to get this woman hemmed up? Why are y'all trying to get this woman hemmed up? Y'all know she going through a divorce. Y'all know Ralph petty as hell. What more? And she done told y'all, I'm going through this divorce. Ralph is petty. We are just friends. And when she said, well, is there some flirting? She was like, yeah, some flirting. But it's nothing more to it. It was just irritating me. So they bring that up again at dinner, child. Well, when they were eating. Why they had nothing for Britt to eat? Why They didn't have nothing for Brit to eat. And again, I know people ain't saying it for Brit. I get it. I respect that. But at the end of the day, why? Y'all sat there and cooked the food, which means y'all could have put something aside for that woman. Y'all know she don't eat pork. She don't eat beef. Why did y'all not put something aside and stir fry that in a separate pot for her? I just feel like, and as much as I know we clown Sakina about her being, vegan and everything, when Sakina came to DC and me, her, and Busy went out to eat, we made sure we went to a restaurant that had vegan options. Like, I specifically looked at the menu and made sure that she had more to eat on the menu than some salad. Y'all know what I'm saying? And I just feel like, yeah, DMV rebuild, yeah, because when they were, and the reason why I know they knew is because when the guy was putting the food on the plate, Kelly said, well, Britt doesn't eat beef and pork. Somebody else said it before Britt said it. So I know they knew. And and maybe Britt didn't say anything when they were cooking it, but it seems to me like Britt would have said something. So it just, between Britt opening up her mouth, I don't know, but it just seems to me like Britt would have, I don't know, but that was, I felt bad. I ain't gonna say I felt bad for her, because child, all these women do is eat and drink, child. That's all they do is eat and drink. So I don't know if I'm gonna say I feel bad for her, but it just, I don't know. I was just like, the hell? He said, I know someone doesn't eat meat. Okay, well, I don't know then. I just don't understand why they didn't have a plate for her. But anyway, if he said it, then I don't know. Okay, moving right along. That's just a small thing. But if he said it, then he said it, then they knew, then whatever. Shamia and Portia seem like they back, she said, I'm glad I got my best friend back. So I really need to know how they got to where they are now. If they made up during filming and they're good during filming, how they get to where they are now where they not speaking. So I don't know, child. I don't know. Anyway. So the ladies get back to the house so they can get ready for dinner. They're going to have dinner with the prime minister. So the ladies are getting dressed, yada, yada, yada. Baby, Angela looks good. That red lip that Angela was given, baby, was everything. Angela looked really cute. I don't know why they keep wanting to come for Angela. Baby, Angela, I think, is a cutie. First of all, her body is body-yaddy-yaddy-in, right? And that red lip was beautiful, okay? Their mothers are still feuding, right? Child, their mothers ain't got along in 20 years. I heard they're friends again. Oh, good. I hope they made up. That prime minister was a cutie, and he did look young. When he said he had a 17-year-old, I was like, what? So the ladies, she called Chuck again, child. Anyway, so the ladies go to dinner with the prime minister, and then they have that whole moment with Shamia and Britt, which I already talked about. Then Portia was saying that she felt some kind of way last week when Britt was saying that she didn't feel supported. So now on this one, I'm not with Britt. Now I was with Britt on the passive aggressive donation thing, but on this one, Britt, you don't listen. First of all, you didn't let Portia finish what she was saying. And then because you didn't let Portia finish what she was saying, the conversation went in a whole different direction. Now, you said you didn't feel supported. You was like, none of the ladies ever invited me to their house, blah, blah, blah. And you said, and Portia was like, well, you've never invited us to your house either. And she was like, now you're just being tit for tat. But isn't that a valid statement? If you say you've never invited me anywhere, and if I've never invited you anywhere, isn't that a valid conversation? So Portia was like, she was trying to get to what is it that we can do for you to feel supported. That's where Portia was trying to go. But Portia could never get there because when she was trying to lay the foundation for the conversation and say, well, you said you never felt supported. You said we never invited you out. I've never invited you to my home, and you've never invited us to your home either. And before Portia could go any further, here come Britt. Well, blah 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 blah. And I was, because that's all I heard come out of her mouth. I would do blah 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 blah. But that's all I heard. That is all I heard at that point, because this goes back, and I found it interesting that they won't even say Kenya's name, right? Because when she said, well, you know, I've had a rocky road. I've had my fair share of issues with Drew and with Angela. And I don't know if she said Kenya's name and they bleeped it out, but I found it interesting that Kenya's name didn't come up as one of the people you had a problem with when she was the main person you had a problem with. But neither here nor there. That's what she was talking about when she said, I didn't feel supported. We're back at, well, when that thing happened with Kenya, y'all didn't have my back. That's where we're back at that. We're back there. Because that's what you're talking about when you say, I didn't feel supported, right? So, at the end of the day, I'm really not sure what you wanted from these ladies that you did not get. Because when that event first happened, everybody had your back. Regardless of where we are today, with her saying that ain't even her in the pictures, whatever. But the day of that event, nobody defended Kenya. Nobody defended Kenya. But the problem is, I think that you expected everybody to cut Kenya off, to say Kenya was a horrible person. And that's not going to happen. These women have known Kenya for years. Some of them have real relationships in real life. So no, they're not going to stop being friends with Kenya or stop talking to Kenya, but they can say Kenya's wrong, but still love her and still want to be her friend. And I think Britt was expecting them to be like, you know, F Kenya, da 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 da. And that's not how this story is going to end. That was never how this story was going to end, because you're walking into an established friend group, and whether they love or hate Kenya, there's a history there, and you just got here. So even though I can say I didn't like what Abby did, I ain't gonna stop fucking with Abby. That's my friend. Y'all know what I'm saying? And so when Britt says, y'all, I don't feel supported, that's what she means. That's what she means. Because when they had that brunch at Kelly's house, and she was like, well, y'all still call Kenya. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they call Kenya? Why wouldn't they still be friends with Kenya? What Kenya did, they don't have to like it, but that don't mean they stop being her friend. Britt don't read the room. She definitely don't read the room. Let me read a couple of comments because I'm almost done, child. Ain't much more to say. I think Britt wants to be. She absolutely does, Quake, because I'm about to get to that in a second. I was hoping that cake was from Charles. I was too when they were at dinner. Yeah, I was hoping Charles had sent her flowers, done something, child. Child, listen. She's a malignant narcissist. Not malignant. Damn. Because they said it. They said they had talked to Kenya. And even the ones that didn't necessarily talk to Kenya, I just think she expected a different reaction that she didn't get. Now, on the way back, I'm trying to think. The Prime Minister came through, and now on this one, I loved Shamia's personality, because when the Prime Minister was like, well, I just was stopping by, I just wanted to speak, and she was like, you ain't just stopping by, pull up a chair, you got a few minutes to hang out with us. I love that, because he sat down for a few minutes, and I don't think he really planned to do that. So that's Shamia's personality. That's her, being like, sit your ass down, and hang out with us for a few minutes. But that was pretty much dinner. The cake, that's what Angela brought up about the ring. I kind of already talked about that. So as they were leaving and coming back, that was when they were in the car and they had the conversation, and Phaedra was having that conversation that sister girl conversation with Britt. Thank you. Yes, it's 200 of y'all in here. Like the video, please. Thank you. And if you listen, and donations are accepted as well. If y'all want to drop a 5, 10, 15, 20, those are being accepted as well. Thank y'all so much. My birthday wish list is pinned. You don't have to buy me anything, but if you want to, ideas are there. Okay. And a few people have already sent some packages, so thank y'all. Thank you. I got a few packages already. Thank you. I appreciate you. We're going to open them all up at the same time at my birthday party. So I haven't scheduled that yet, but I'll let you know. I think it's going to either be July the 1st or on my actual birthday, which is July the 2nd. It's going to be one of those 2 days. All right. So anyway, so on the way back, Shamia gets a phone call from her husband, letting her know that her daughter is sick. We know her youngest daughter has issues. She's got a lot of things that compromise her immune system. So when she gets sick, it's a lot more complicated than just a regular baby getting a cold. And he let her know that the room was cold and that the baby wasn't tended to like the baby should have been. And he said if she doesn't get better, he's going to take the baby to the hospital the next day. Well, he said the doctor. And when Shamia got off the phone, she immediately, and you know what? The last 3.5 minutes, because out of the last 5 minutes of this episode, anyway, y'all know what I mean. I'll get there in a second. Thank you, Lavender Ghost. Can't wait to see you on a cruise. I can't wait to see you either, boo. And Shamia immediately had a moment. I loved how Portia it was Portia, Kelly, and Cynthia. Was it Cynthia? Who was it? Portia, Kelly. I think it was Cynthia. Was Cynthia in the car with them? But I loved how they immediately embraced her. Portia immediately went over and hugged her, and the rest of the ladies, put their arms and they touched her, they rubbed her, they told her it was gonna be okay. I loved how they sent a text to the other car and let the other car know Shamia just got some bad news about her baby. We're gonna all meet up at the house so we can be there for Shamia. I loved how, Shamia was like, why is everybody so quiet? She went, she changed, she put a robe on, and she sat down on the couch, and those emotions took her over. And I loved how they embraced that woman. I loved it. Okay. That was the moment when all of those women, and then Kelly said, listen, we're just going to say a prayer. And they prayed over Shamia, and they just were there. Like they just engulfed her. And I absolutely loved it. Right. We have the same birthday. Well, hey, my Cancer. Are you my sister or brother? Hey, my Cancer queen or king. Up until that damn Brit, everything does not have to fucking be about you. You took that moment to make you the center of that moment. You could have left everything where it was. You could have said, Shamia, times like this, it just makes you realize what's really important. And whatever we was fighting about 2 hours ago, girl, I don't give a damn about that. And you could have left it there. That could have been it. Boom. That could have been it right there. Right there. But you had to say it. Then you had to come around and sit in front of her and give a whole fucking speech. And then you were like, let's take a shot. We're going to take a shot. Then you had to go and take a shot. Then you had to get naked. Girl, you were doing a lot because you needed that moment to be about you. And it wasn't. That moment was Shamia and those girls and the sisterhood. That is what that moment was about. And you turned it right. It was very performative. It was very performative. And you made it about you. It's not, girl. Everybody in that room had beef with everybody else in that room. You did not need to make that about you in that moment. It was not about you. That thing irritated my soul. Do you hear me? Because I was like, I literally fast forwarded through half of it because it was like the last 3 minutes of the episode. And I was like, and I started fast forwarding and she was still talking and she was still talking and she was still talking. And then when she got done talking, then she got naked. It was like, girl, not they should have thrown some dollars at her, Chuck. Right. Just be in the moment. Just let that woman. It was a beautiful moment. And like I said, if you wanted to say something, you could have just as easily said, it's times like this when you realize what's really important. Shamia, whatever we were fighting about, girl, it is not that serious. Let me tell you something. That happened to me. I'm going to say this and then we're about to get out of here. That happened to me a few years ago. A friend of mine, really good friend of mine, her son passed away. He had sickle cell. He died. He was like 20. He was in college. Anyway, long story short, he was young, but he was an adult, but he was young, And there were some people that we're mutual friends with who I'm not friends with anymore. Like, we're not friends anymore. We went to college together, but we're not friends. We all were friends and we're not anymore. And when I tell you we put all of that like, you would think that our friendship never ended because we put all of that bullshit aside for our friend. Like, one of the friends, I didn't even have her phone number anymore. She had mine because my phone number hasn't changed, but I didn't even have her phone number anymore. So we were texting, we were talking, we were making sure everything was good for her. She doesn't live in our area. We didn't travel together because both of us live here. We didn't travel together, but we coordinated. We all stayed at the same hotel. Like, literally for that week and a half that we were dealing with that whole situation and the funeral home and all that entailed, that to be there for our friend, that is what we did. And I promise y'all, it's not funny. But when I tell you, I promise y'all, the day we came home from that funeral, I ain't talked to her since. I ain't saved her number in my phone. Because sometimes it's not about you. And you got to put that shit aside to be there for the people that you need to be there for. Now I'm exaggerating when I say I ain't never talked to her again. I still see her from time to time, but it didn't mend our friendship is what I'm saying. Like, we didn't become friends after that. We came together and did what we had to do for our friend. And when that was over, we went back to where we were before. You know what I mean? We went back to what it was. Drew Sidor is on Watch What Happens Live, y'all. So for all of us who've been talking about Drew not being on Watch What Happens Live, she is on Watch What Happens Live tonight. So shout out to that. So anyway, with that being said, y'all, I'm about to get out of here. Tomorrow, I was wrong earlier. I said that the Whether You Like It or Not panel was going to be on Scotty's channel. It is not. It'll be on Busy. It will be on Busy's channel tomorrow night. So make sure y'all join us. If you don't have Busy Bee's link, I will share it on my community wall tomorrow. And make sure you guys join us over there for Busy's night to host the Whether You Like It or Not panel. So it looks like we may make another full rotation because next week's episode, and then we know there's at least one more episode after that. So Busy, Scotty. Oh no, we won't make another rotation. Busy, Scotty, T, Josiah, me. Shit, I might be the caboose. If there's only two more episodes, I'm the caboose. If there are 3 more episodes, y'all is the caboose. Okay. Don't forget, coming up this week, y'all, we have a busy week on the review channel. Tomorrow is the Whether You Like It or Not panel. Tuesday is Divorced Sisters. Wednesday is the Real Housewives of Miami. And Thursday is the Real Housewives of Miami panel. It'll be on my channel. Y'all know we'll rotate just like we do with the Whether You Like It or Not panel, but it will be on my channel Thursday night. So y'all, we got a lot going on. So that means that y'all are going to probably get some doubles out of me this week. Because I still got to do my celebrity news and gossip. Thank you, Cajun. There's Busy's channel right there, you guys. There's Busy's channel. Thank you, Cajun Boo. So y'all, so it's gonna be a busy week. It's gonna be a busy week. Okay. I will talk to y'all later. Peace. You know, Bab, that's a good question because I wonder because of the lawsuit if they're gonna have to edit a lot of stuff out. Quake, I don't. They might. We talked about that the other night. That. Oh. Sorry, y'all. We definitely don't need 3 parts, but we talked about that the other day when we talked about Brit's lawsuit. Like, I wonder how that's going to affect the editing for the reunion. Because if she's filing a lawsuit, there might be certain things that they can't discuss it. They can't talk about. They did also say that Kenya was supposed to do a one-on-one interview with Andy, but that's been canceled. So that's interesting. But I believe that was canceled before the lawsuit was filed. So I think that's interesting that was canceled. So I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace. Have a good evening, y'all.